The Philadelphia Eagles just can't catch a quiet week, can they? It feels like every time the team starts to settle into a rhythm, something dramatic drops out of nowhere to shake the nest. And this time, it's a big one. Veteran cornerback Jaire Alexander has decided to step away from football, possibly for good. Yeah, you heard that right. The guy the Eagles just traded for a couple of weeks ago is now walking away before even playing a single snap in midnight green. So, let's rewind this crazy timeline. 2 Saturdays ago, General Manager Howie Roseman went out and pulled off what looked like a smart, low-risk move, trading for Alexander, a 2-time All-Pro who was supposed to bring veteran leadership to a young cornerback room. It made perfect sense. The Eagles needed some depth on the outside, and Alexander had worked under defensive backs coach Christian Parker back in Green Bay, playing some of the best football of his career during that stretch. Reuniting them seemed like a win-win situation. But fast forward just a few days, and everything flipped upside down. Before the Monday night matchup against Green Bay, reporters asked Alexander how he was feeling physically, considering the injuries that had piled up over the last few seasons. His answer? "I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm in a good spot." Sounds confident, right? He practiced with the team, looked locked in, even got some work in with his new teammates wearing that number 18 jersey. Some folks around Philly started whispering that maybe he could even see action against the Packers, a sort of full-circle moment against his former team. But that never happened. As the game got closer, the decision came down from the coaching staff. Alexander wouldn't travel to Green Bay. Officially, it was called a coach's decision, but behind the scenes, something clearly wasn't right. And then, just a couple of days later, word broke that Alexander had informed the team he was stepping away from football to focus on his physical and mental health. The timing caught everyone off guard, but sources later said the move had been in discussion for several days. The Eagles, apparently, were already aware that he was struggling and wanted to handle it quietly before anything became public. Now here's where things get really interesting. When the trade went down, Philadelphia sent a 6th-round pick in the 2026 draft to the Ravens and got back Alexander plus a 7th-rounder in 2027. So naturally, the first question that popped up across Eagles Twitter was, wait a second, he didn't even play for us. Do we get our draft pick back? Honestly, it's unclear. Sometimes teams can come to a mutual agreement in weird situations like this, but there's no guarantee Baltimore gives anything back. Still, it's a bizarre situation all around. The truth is the warning signs were already there. Alexander's health has been a major concern for years. Since that breakout 2022 season when he played 16 games and earned All-Pro honors, it's been downhill. He only appeared in 7 games in 2023 and another 7 this year. Before that, in 2021, just 4 games. It's been a brutal stretch, with injuries robbing him of the quickness and explosiveness that made him such a feared shutdown corner early in his career. You could see it in his brief stint with Baltimore, too. He suited up in 2 games, gave up completions on all 5 of the passes thrown his way for more than 100 yards, and posted a near-perfect passer rating when targeted. Not exactly the kind of impact you want from a veteran corner. Even Baltimore seemed to recognize it quickly. He was made a healthy scratch after those 2 games. That move said everything. They wanted to play their younger guys, and Alexander just didn't look like himself anymore. Then came that now viral comment from an anonymous Packers contact describing his knee as braised oxtail, fall off the bone tender. As harsh as that sounds, it ended up being true. His body simply hasn't held up. So now, in the strangest twist possible, Alexander joins a short but infamous list of Eagles legends who never actually played a down for the team. Remember Frank Gore, who signed with Philly before changing his mind and heading to the Colts? Or Zadarius Smith, who announced his retirement right after signing. Add Alexander to that list. Signed, suited up for practice, never stepped onto the field, and now gone. That leaves the obvious question, where do the Eagles go from here? Well, they already made a few roster moves in response. Alexander was placed on the reserve/retired list, and the team brought back cornerback Jaquan Bennett to the active roster. Bennett's season got off to a rough start after a Week 3 injury against the Rams. Ironically, that same game where he made a huge play on special teams by blocking a kick that led to a Jordan Davis scoop and score touchdown. Before the injury, he was showing flashes of real potential. With Bennett back, the Eagles now have some depth again behind Adoree Jackson, Khalil Ringo, and of course, rookie sensation Quinyon Mitchell, who's been playing lights out all season. Jackson, by the way, has quietly been solid lately. After some early struggles, he's allowed less than 40 yards in coverage per game since Week 1. Against the Packers, he gave up just 23 yards on 4 catches. Not bad for a guy many thought was on the decline. So, do the Eagles need to make another move at cornerback? Probably not. With Ringo and Bennett healthy, and the pass rush starting to heat up again, the secondary has held its own. But there's one name floating around that has fans buzzing. Asante Samuel Jr., the son of the former Eagles star. He just signed to the Steelers' practice squad, which means technically the Eagles could poach him if they signed him to their 53-man roster. The dots are definitely there to connect. Right after the Alexander news broke, Asante Samuel Sr., the dad, posted a tweet with a bunch of eyeball emojis reacting to the story. Maybe he's hinting at something. Maybe it's just coincidence. But you can't deny how poetic it would be to see the son of an Eagles legend put on the same jersey and try to carve his own legacy in Philly. Of course, signing him would mean another roster shuffle. Bennett already filled Alexander's spot on the 53, so someone would have to be moved or cut. But if Howie Roseman sees value, he's not afraid to get creative. The guy's built his reputation on bold moves, and this situation is tailor-made for that kind of thinking. At the end of the day, it's just wild how fast things can change in this league. One moment, you're celebrating a veteran addition who could stabilize your defense, and the next, he's stepping away completely to focus on himself. It's a reminder that behind all the numbers, trades, and highlight reels, these are still human beings dealing with real-life battles, both physical and mental. And in Alexander's case, it seems like football just isn't his top priority right now. Still, the timing is tough for the Eagles. They're 7-2, fighting to keep their grip on the top seed in the NFC, and now dealing with more roster adjustments. Between the A.J. Brown situation brewing on one side and the constant injury shuffling on defense, Philly's been juggling chaos all season long. But if there's one thing this team's shown under Nick Sirianni, it's resilience. They've weathered storms before, and they'll have to do it again. And speaking of storms, we're not done yet. Because while Alexander's story is wild enough, there's another situation brewing in Philadelphia that's got everyone talking, and it involves one of the team's biggest stars. A.J. Brown, man, that saga just keeps getting louder. But before we dive into that, let's stick with this Alexander fallout a little longer because it says something deeper about how unpredictable this season has been for the Eagles. Now, let's talk about the other storm brewing in Philadelphia, because if there's one storyline that just refuses to die this season, it's the A.J. Brown saga. Honestly, it's getting exhausting. Every week, it feels like there's some new drama, some new comment, or some social media moment that gets everyone talking about his relationship with the team, his frustration, or his future in Philly. And look, I get it. A.J. Brown is a competitor. The guy's built different. He's not out there just trying to play football. He's trying to be one of the best to ever do it. But lately, the vibe has been off, and it's starting to spill into everything the Eagles do. This week, it wasn't even a press conference or an interview that set things off. It was a Twitch stream. Yeah, in 2025, that's how news breaks now. Brown was gaming online with a popular streamer, a Washington Commanders fan, and during the session, he was asked how things were going. His answer was simple but heavy. Family's good. Everything else? No, it's a show. Then he laughed it off, but the message was clear. Something's wrong. A few minutes later, he doubled down, saying, "If you have me on fantasy football, get rid of me. You don't just throw that out there unless you're trying to send a message." He kept going too. While playing as himself in Madden, he tossed the ball to his own virtual version and said, "Let's show him some love," before scoring a touchdown and then telling his son, "This is the only positive football I've got right now." That one hit hard, because even though it's coming through the lens of a video game, it's obvious he's frustrated with how things are going on the field. And honestly, you can't completely blame him. The Eagles are 7-2, sitting at the top of the NFC, and still, it feels like they haven't found their rhythm offensively. The passing game has been hot and cold. One week it's clicking, the next it looks completely out of sync. And Brown's targets have been inconsistent too. Against Green Bay, he was thrown to only 3 times. 3. For a player of his caliber, that's just not enough. This is a guy who feeds off touches, who builds confidence the more involved he is. When that doesn't happen, frustration is inevitable. The irony is that AJ's attitude, the same fire that sometimes gets him into these situations, is also what makes him great. He's obsessed with improvement, obsessed with legacy. Even after winning the Super Bowl, he said he wasn't satisfied, that he wanted to be remembered among the greatest receivers ever. That's the Mamba mentality he always talks about. But when you combine that drive with a stretch of limited production and a few tough losses, it creates a pressure cooker. Statistically, it's not even that he's playing badly. He got over 30 catches, around 500 yards, and a few touchdowns. But compared to his usual standard, the back-to-back All-Pro seasons, the highlight reel plays, the dominance after the catch, it's a dip. And when you're wired like A.J. Brown, even a small dip feels like failure. The question now is whether this frustration is just a temporary thing or something deeper. Because if it's deeper, the Eagles might have a real problem. There's already speculation that this could be his final season in Philly. Some think the front office could look to move him after the year if the distractions keep mounting. That might sound wild, but when you think about it, it's not completely far-fetched. Philadelphia's culture has always been about team over individual, we not me. That's how they've built success. That's how they won the Super Bowl. But AJ's recent behavior doesn't really fit that mold. You can almost feel the tension between him and Jalen Hurts, even if both of them deny it publicly. Hurts is calm, stoic, always team first. AJ wears his emotions on his sleeve. They've made it work before, but there's only so long a team can keep pushing through this kind of noise before it becomes a real distraction. Still, let's not forget what Brown has done for this franchise. When he first arrived, he completely transformed the offense. He and Hurts built one of the most dangerous quarterback-receiver connections in the league. Before coming to Philly, Brown was a great player. With Philly, he became a superstar. He's gone over 1,000 yards every year in Midnight Green and helped carry the team to the Super Bowl. His physicality, his route running, his ability to make contested catches, those are things you can't just replace overnight. So yeah, it's complicated. On one hand, he's earned the right to be frustrated when things aren't going well. On the other, you can't keep creating drama when the team is winning. There's a line, and he's been walking dangerously close to crossing it. Some people around the league are already asking whether the Eagles' locker room might be getting tired of it. Sure, Brown is respected. Teammates have said he's a positive presence most of the time. But leadership means knowing when to let go of personal frustration for the good of the team, and that's where the challenge lies. You also have to think about the business side of it. The Eagles are already paying Brown elite money, north of $30 million a year, and soon they'll have to extend Devonta Smith too, probably around $25 million. That's a lot of cash tied up in 2 receivers. And if the chemistry isn't clicking, it's fair to wonder if Howie Roseman might look for a reset. Maybe they decide Smith can step up as the true number 1, draft another receiver early, and build a new offensive identity around that. It wouldn't be the first time Philly made a bold move to protect the locker room dynamic. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers started swirling around Arrowhead this week after Patrick Mahomes reportedly made some eye-raising comments about the Philadelphia Eagles, and fans can't stop talking about it. The Kansas City superstar, known for his calm demeanor and team-first focus, rarely steps in a headline-making territory off the field. But this time, what he said has sparked a wave of speculation that's rippling through the NFL community. Sources close to the Chiefs' locker room suggest Mahomes was asked about the Eagles during a casual post-practice chat. His answer, described by one insider as unexpectedly bold, has been making its way through social media feeds ever since. While Mahomes didn't attack anyone directly, his tone reportedly carried an edge that many interpreted as both confident and calculated. Some claim he hinted that Kansas City hasn't forgotten certain unfinished business with Philadelphia, while others insist his words were more of a quiet challenge. A message that the Chiefs are watching, waiting, and ready. Fans immediately took to X and Reddit to dissect every possible meaning behind his comment. Was Mahomes sending a signal ahead of a potential rematch? Was he stirring the pot? Or simply speaking his mind after months of hearing how the Eagles have retooled and reloaded? No one seems quite sure, and that uncertainty has only fueled the fire. Even a few of his teammates reportedly raised eyebrows, not because Mahomes crossed a line, but because of how rare it is for him to show that kind of edge publicly. Pat's not the type to throw shade, one player said. So, if he said something that got people talking, maybe that was on purpose. Meanwhile, Eagles fans are firing back online, turning Mahomes' words into fuel of their own. Sports talk shows are looping the clip, analysts are debating his intent, and everyone is wondering, did Mahomes just ignite the next great NFL rivalry of the season? Whatever his true meaning, one thing's certain, Mahomes has everyone listening. And when the league's most dynamic quarterback speaks, the entire football world leans in. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.